Alright, welcome back. So this is just another video to test our capabilities with our new software, our ability to run some professional software in the background while running our recording software, to test our audio input, test our video input, to test our output capabilities, and to upload to YouTube. So today we're running Autodesk Inventor Professional 2018 in the background here while also running all of our recording software. And we're going to load up a new assembly. Let's go ahead and start a new assembly here. And we're going to plop in some parts, we're going to run them through, we're going to try out some different shading techniques, we're going to try out different visualization techniques, we're going to try to get this software to lag down while we're using it to see what it's capable of while we're currently recording. And we want to see what we can do while we're recording with our new software here. So we have a new assembly, let's go ahead and place a new part. And I'm going to pick something that's a little complicated. I'm going to go into my CAD files here and pull up my turbine. Turbine assembly here is relatively complex. You see it's taking a moment to load. Things got a little wonky there while we were loading. Still don't see anything. Ah, there we are. So you can see it's a little bit laggy, a little bit funky. Frames per second a little low here. So let's go ahead and click. Place that part. Okay, here we go, and escape out of that. And while we're doing this, I'm actually going to bring up my performance monitoring here so we can see on the side what our PC is doing while we're running Inventor. So we're going to run Inventor on one side and our task manager on the other, so that we can watch some of our performance. We're going to watch our CPU spike, our memory spiking, watch our GPU. You'll notice, once again, this has been pretty consistent here. We have our Intel integrated graphics is just being absolutely hammered, while our NVIDIA Quadro M500M professional grade graphics processor is sitting doing absolutely diddly squat. And that has been a consistent issue that I've had throughout all of the testing that I've done with this professional software as I've been working to expand our capabilities here, looking into getting a new workstation PC and all these different options. I've been noticing that our professional workstation grade graphics processor in these laptops that we have, as opposed to making them capable of doing good work, is not functioning well. Additionally, you'll notice that our CPU load here, I'm doing nothing at the moment. I'm not operating with Inventor. Inventor's just sitting here. OBS, our broadcasting software I'm using to record this video, is operating in the background. And our CPU is currently running at 33%, 3.0 gigahertz, which is its absolute max clock speed. We are maxing out our RAM here at 86% RAM with Inventor running, OBS running. We have our task manager running. Outlook is running in the background. I'm trying to do my best to simulate a typical day's work here with Outlook in the background and a few Chrome tabs in the background as well. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Let's go ahead and try to run this turbine through a few different revolutions and pan around and zoom and do some different things. And so far we're okay. We're not lagging really. We can see that CPU up there spiking up to 90-something%. Our Intel integrated graphics is jumping, and hey, look at that Quadro comes online, and it is doing something as well. Nice to see. I'm just going to zoom in and out, see if I can get some lag in there too. Oh, and there we go. We lagged a little bit. We got a little too close. We're going to go ahead and throw up some different visual styles here, and we're going to try. I'm not going to go with realistic just yet. Let's go with wireframe. Wireframe can be a little bit taxing. You see there, took a moment to switch to wireframe. Our CPU did jump, and now we're trying to pan around. I did get some lag as I was trying to start the pan. I'll flip around, and now once it got started, it did seem to smooth out a little bit. Again, with the integrated graphics is being pegged pretty hard. The Quadro is doing very little to accelerate this, and Inventor is a very CPU bound operation. Inventor does not use the GPU much. Inventor is not software that has much connection to the GPU, but when it does, it can really hit it pretty hard. So we're seeing here as I come back in and start doing things, we're going to watch that CPU just go ahead and spike back up to 3 gigahertz, right, likely here, back up to roughly 90% or so. I'm zooming back and forth and back and forth. I'm scrolling up and down on my scroll wheel here, and you can see we are just absolutely lagging all over the place. Our memory is maxing out here, and obviously 8 gigabytes of RAM is absolutely not anywhere near enough for an application like this. And this is something that we've really kind of learned after the fact with this particular setup. All right, let's get this back to where I want it to be. In my window, change this visual style before I drive myself a little bit nuts here with this. I'm going to go back to shaded so I can see it a little better. That wireframe does take a little bit of effort. Let's go ahead and bring it to realistic and see what happens. Sometimes this can actually crash Inventor depending on how bad your system is. I don't actually see any change. I'm able to pan around it, so it's obviously not updating. So realistic must not have made much in the way of a difference with the types of materials that we've currently got chosen for our turbine here. Push back to shade to see if we notice a difference. No difference really. All right, let's try some other operations here in Inventor while we've got this up and running. And we're going to go to environments, and we're going to pop into Inventor Studio. I gotta take a moment for Inventor Studio to load up. And we were obviously already taxing our equipment with just pulling up Inventor, panning and zooming around in the environment while having our broadcasting software up and running. So I expect Inventor Studio to tax it even further, but we just want to see what we're capable of doing here. We come into Inventor, and we're going to do an image render. Before we do that, I want to change the materials on a few things. I'm going to go ahead and bring my turbine assembly here, right click, and I'm going to, let's actually exit Inventor Studio for a moment so that I can operate on my assembly. And I want to change it to be adaptive here. Adaptive, so that I can come in. I'm going to modify specific components of it. So for example, the low pressure spool and the high pressure spool, I'm going to change their appearance. And let's go ahead and change their appearance to be metal. Make them be like a stainless steel, polished stainless steel. There we go, a little shiny. And then the outside, let's make it be like a white plastic. We're gonna go ahead and grab fan casings and supports, core casings, nozzle section. I'm gonna change those to be like a white plastic. Smooth white. I don't like the way that looks. Let's go ahead and see if we got better white color. Sometimes digging through the Autodesk material library can be an exercise in patience as you try to find the specific coloration you're looking for or the specific material you're looking for, because they're not always named what you'd expect them to be named. So let's go through here and all right, we're going to try this fine white and see if that looks the way I want it to look. Nope, not at all. One more shot and I'll stick with whatever I get this next time here. Let's go to PVC white. That's kind of a plasticky color I want. And that'll do. It's not really the color I'm going for, but this isn't really the application for doing fancy colors anyway. I'm just trying to get something a little different here. Now we're going to go for the stand. One more change. Something kind of colored. We'll go back to our smooth colors down here. And you saw a little bit of lag as I was coming through. And we'll go with this smooth navy color for that. So we get something a little more reflective and colorful in there. Lots of other things I could do, obviously. I'm not going to spend the time right now to do it. So let's pop back into environments and into Inventor Studio. And you'll notice immediately upon popping into Inventor Studio, we get some reflections and we get a little bit of lighting that's going on that we did not get before. And you notice that now my colors look a little more like I wanted them to look when I was playing with them originally. Things just look a little nicer all the way around. So let's go ahead and play with our studio lighting styles first. I'm going to plop us in a location here. So, why don't we go to the Alps? That sounds nice. Alps or below the Alps, and done. Change our lighting up a little bit, and we're just going to render the image so we can see what happens here. We'll keep the image relatively straightforward. Lighting style Alps. Give it a moment to load. Again, it's really interesting to watch here now that we're actually using graphics intensive things that should be intensive graphics users. Our rendering, our lights, our shadows, our reflections, our colors, our materials. We should be seeing this Quadro GPU be used heavily, and we're just not getting it. This Intel integrated one is spiked at 50% because it's displaying everything on the screen right now, and it's also feeding all the information on the screen through to our recording software, which we kind of expect. We would expect that to be used regardless, but what we're really getting here is our CPU just bottlenecking left and right. Let's go to output, save the rendered image. We're going to save it to our desktop. We're just going to call it assembly one. We really don't care at this point. Pop into the render, and we're going to render by time because we don't want to waste a lot of time here. And we're going to go by, oh goodness, 0.1 minutes. We're not going to waste a lot of time on this. High mode accuracy, and we'll just go ahead and click render, see what happens. I'm over here, I'm watching all of my different aspects of my computer, and I noticed right away, not responding. Not good. I'm hoping this will recover. Ideally it should recover here. But I do notice that my NVIDIA GPU has finally kicked in. My Quadro GPU is doing something. It does have something to do with our rendering here. My CPU is actually not fully maxed out, but it is obviously bouncing around, being used heavily. My memory is being used heavily. The computer just doesn't seem to know what it wants to do. So I'm going to give it like a few more seconds to do this, and then we're just going to process down because we don't really want to waste a lot of time at the moment doing this. Okay, we can see CPU now is pegged at 100%, or it was there for a moment. NVIDIA GPU is bouncing around a little bit. Memory has spiked. Still nothing happening on the screen. Inventor is still doing nothing. Not responding at all. Pull this over while we're doing it. We can see a little more detail here with what our CPU is doing. Obviously being used heavily at the moment. NVIDIA Quadro GPU got 4 cores, doing nothing. Dedicated GPU memory usage, nothing. Intel integrated, working roughly about what we'd expect out of it. Not using much memory there. Using our dedicated computer memory, our shared computer memory, pretty heavily. Back to the CPU. Hey, we dropped down because it looks like something's happened here. So let's go ahead and slide this back over and see. It says completed. I don't see anything completed. So it looks like it must have failed to render, which is fine. We'll turn that off. We can actually see what we're seeing here is actually still, as I said before, a better image than what you would get in the typical Inventor windows. If you wanted to get a feel for what your object looked like with reflections, shadows, etc., you'll get a better look at it here than you even would in the typical Inventor window. So right now we're just going to pan around a little bit and see if we can tax things. The more I move, the more we tax, very specifically the CPU. So we are seeing very clear proof here that the CPU is the key motivator for our Inventor. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. Obviously, we were able to get our recording to work well. We'll get this up on YouTube right away, and I appreciate your time. Take care and see you next time.